Hey everyone, thanks for joining us here on the Fox 43 YouTube channel and fox43.com. Election day coming up next week, and these are the municipal elections, the local elections, which are still just as important as any other election that we have on any other year. So joining us right now to talk about this is Acting Secretary of State Veronica Degraffenreid. Thank you so much for joining us. And how are you doing, like right now, as we're a week away? What level of busy is your office at this point in time?
All right, thank you, Matt, for having me talk about what I agree. The upcoming election is a very important election. All elections are important. We're busy continuing to work with our counties, making sure that they're ready for election day. We continue to also, have calls and emails sent to us from voters in the Commonwealth, and we're just encouraging people that definitely November 2nd is a little over a week away, and it's so important for those individuals who are requesting to vote by mail to please make sure that their ballot can be returned by 8 p.m. on election day. So that means taking those ballots at this point directly into their county election office, or if their county offers a drop box, delivering them directly to the drop box.
Let's talk about some of those dates. You just mentioned, the main one, which is next Tuesday, the big election day next Tuesday. What else should people know in terms of dates that they need to keep in mind between now and November 2nd?
Matt, speaking of mail voting, it's not too late to request a ballot, but voters should go in person, right? They should go in person to their county election office no later than 5 p.m. tomorrow. That's Tuesday, October 26th. So that's the deadline to request those mail-in ballots, and they can do so directly in person. As a matter of fact, if they go to the counter, the county election officials will process their application right there at the counter, offer the voter their balloting materials, and they can vote that ballot, making sure that they certainly put their ballot into the secrecy envelope and then sealing that secrecy envelope into the outer return envelope, making sure that they sign it and date it. And they can deliver it directly to the election official right there in person. But tomorrow is the deadline. So 5 p.m. Tuesday, October 26th, to request those mail-in ballots. And then from there, it's all about election day. So voters, should be mindful that the polls open at 7 a.m., close at 8 p.m. And if you do have a ballot that you've received by mail, that ballot must be received no later than 8 p.m. on Tuesday, November 2nd.
And that obviously is different from what we experienced in the 2020 election, where ballots were allowed to come in a few days after the general election. But what you're saying is that was just a one-time deal. This is something where those ballots got to be in by 8 o'clock next Tuesday night.
That's true. And last year, certainly, we were experiencing mail delays. The post office, as a matter of fact, told election officials all over the country how difficult it would be. And post offices, quite frankly, are still continuing to experience, shortages with postal carriers, and there are delays. So we don't want anyone to miss out on an opportunity to have their ballot received and counted. So at this point, please take those ballots in person to your county election office, or if your county offers a drop box, you can deliver it without any postage. So if you go to a drop box, no postage is required. And that way voters can be, assured that their ballot will be timely received.
So just to recap, tomorrow, 5 p.m., I should say Tuesday, October, just in case someone watches this after October 26th and therefore it's too late. Tuesday, October 26th at 5 p.m. is the deadline that people can request a mail-in ballot, and they can pick up that mail-in ballot right then and there from their county office?
That's correct. Absolutely.
And then they have until 8 p.m. on November 2nd, next Tuesday, to get everything back in the hands of the county election office.
Correct, Matt. So if they go in person now to request the ballot, they can even receive the ballot, vote it, and then give it back to the county election official. For those voters who have already received their mail ballot in the mail, and they still have it at this point, we're absolutely saying, please go ahead and return that ballot in person. Take it to a drop box location if your county offers that as an alternative. Otherwise, take it to the county election office. And if voters want to find out, like, what's the address? And if your county offers drop box, locations, our website, vote.pa.gov, vote.pa.gov will have information about office locations and also information about drop box locations throughout the Commonwealth.
If people are voting in person next Tuesday, what rules do they need to know if they're going in this age of COVID, which we are still living in?
Well, we would encourage voters certainly to follow the guidelines from the CDC. Certainly, if they are not vaccinated, please wear a mask. Do all that you can to protect those election volunteers, to protect their safety. Be patient if there's a line. If there is a line, stay 6 feet and just, give the process a chance to work. But certainly, please vote. We want all voters to go ahead and participate in the process. And that, I should say, with respect to mail voting, almost a million voters here in the Commonwealth have already requested to vote by mail. So that's already very good participation, considering that this is a municipal election year. And we definitely hope millions more will certainly opt to go in person on election day and cast their ballot for very important contests that affects all of our daily lives.
Well, with that many mail-in ballots that have been requested, how concerned are you that counties are equipped in 2021 to handle the influx of mail-in ballots, which understandably are not going to be as many as they experienced last year, but still 1 million ballots is a large number.
It is, but our counties learned a lot, and so they have improved their processes. They are making sure that they're staffed up. They've seen what it takes, what the throughput looks like to go ahead and get those ballots processed. Now, they can't start the pre-canvassing, which means looking at the envelopes to make sure that they are properly signed and dated. Again, I want to encourage voters to make sure that they follow the rules. We want your ballot to count, but the counties, they're prepared. They're even more prepared, I believe, than last year when it was the first time that mail-in voting or the no excuse mail voting was offered in the Commonwealth. And so some best practices have been shared with the counties. They've worked with each other. And I believe they are very much prepared to handle the volume that they will receive that they'll be processing on election day and the days after election day. It will take time because Pennsylvania does not allow the early canvassing of those mail ballots. So voters should be very patient, and they should understand that election results on election night are unofficial. And it's important that every eligible ballot is counted. And so please allow the counties to do their work, but they will work very diligently to make sure that all ballots that should be counted are certainly counted.
I know the Department of State is in the middle of a number of different legal proceedings, so I know I can't ask specific questions about that, but when you mention that counties are sharing best practices, considering that there are a lot of people out there who, in the wake of what happened in 2020, are questioning, right or wrong, the election system. Can you share what the counties are saying some of those best practices are, maybe as a way to relieve some of those concerns?
Right. So it's so important that when counties go through all of their processes, that there is a system of checks and balances in place. And that is always the case. That's why, election officials, including, here, the professional staff here at the Department of State, as well as our counties, have every confidence in the outcome of all contests on their ballots for every election because of those checks and balances that were put in place. But the best practices really, involve how do you handle the volume of mail ballots, right? So last year was the first time that this state, although many other states have had no excuse mail voting for years, I mean, for decades even. And so last year was the first time that the volume was such that here in the Commonwealth that they had to change some of their, staffing, I guess decisions, and just making sure that they have a place or the facility. So it's very, I guess, logical or logistical changes that were put in place to make sure that they could efficiently and effectively go through the process. But in terms of making sure that every eligible ballot is counted, I mean, that's nothing different because we've always had absentee voting, making sure that it's a transparent process and things add up and there's the need for reconciliation. Those are things that have always been in place, but the volume certainly made it a little bit more challenging last year. So that's just a few examples of what the counties have done. Just to make sure that they could carry out their duties, again, just more efficiently, but they will always, and they have always been very thorough and paying particular attention to detail to make sure that there is integrity in the process.
I want to close on this. What level of concern do you have in terms of the safety of this election?
I have, definite confidence that our counties are very vigilant about security, both cyber security and physical security. Elections is considered critical infrastructure. It has been deemed such following the 2016 election when there were attempts for foreign countries to interfere with elections. And so not only do we pay attention to cybersecurity, but physical security, but also just security in the process. Again, those checks and balances that I mentioned, those are all things that give me confidence that we will always have safe, fair, secure, and accurate elections here in the Commonwealth.
Well, we know this is an incredibly busy week for you. So Acting Secretary of State Veronica Degraffenreid, thank you so much for joining Fox 43.
Thank you. Thank you.